This has to be the single scariest SCARECLAW deck I have ever put together. So whenever the Mannadium cards come out, a lot of people, of course, playing Mannadium are playing a lot of SCARECLAW cards. So I thought, why not flip that on its head? Why not take some Mannadium cards and try to bump up the SCARECLAW strategy? And that led you to the monstrosity you see before you. This deck is actually fucking fire. I love it so much. I have a bunch of replays lined up here from a duel room I did with some of the members of our Discord. Really fun games. I'm also going to have ranked gameplay on this deck very soon in the near future. This deck's an absolute fucking blast. It is so fun. What is the idea and why is it so big and why does it contain all of these crazy cards? Well, there's a ton of really awesome combos you can do with this deck. Basically what you're trying to do is you're going to be setting up an end board almost every single game that's going to give you a Firewall Dragon with double bounce and 2 copies of Phantom Knight's Fog Blade, as well as having your SCARECLAW Tryhard on board. Now, if you get extra space and you open up extra strong, you can even V-Link your opponent using SCARECLAW Tryhard. This deck is honestly nuts. There's a ton of combos in here that I took from a good friend of mine, GXSECTOR, also, of course, a YouTuber. I'll put a link to his channel in the description below. I got a lot of the combos and ideas for some of the cards from his channel, and then I added in my own twist with the Mannadium cards. It really is just a blast. I can't sit here and tell you how to play it. You're just going to have to watch the gameplay because it is honestly nuts. But yes, I've got a few games lined up. I will be going over the deck card for card at the end of the video, so stick around for that. And if you're interested, of course, in any content like this coming out in the future, you can, of course, subscribe to catch things as they're coming out every single day. And like this video if you actually enjoy watching. Deck proof at the end. Let's get into the replays. Alright, our first matchup here is against the GrimSky. Now, Grim is, of course, the author of the Dogmatica deck you saw on the channel in the past, and is the author of an upcoming Sprite Synchro deck that he's actually using in this replay. He actually beat me 2-1 in this match. This was just the round that I won. I wanted to show off some of the plays. Grim, phenomenal player, and we will be showcasing his deck as well later on in the channel. But this was a hell of a game. They're going to go for Maxi off the rip. Of course, we're going to go call by on that Maxi, stopping it. Now, of course, we can't see his hand in the actual gameplay, of course. He does have an Imperm and a Magnomet there that we're unaware of. We're simply going to open up every fucking field spell in our deck. So we say, because we've already got the Primitive Climate in hand, we're going to beat a potential Imperm. Actually, we do decide to try and go for it. We're going to grab Unicorn here off the Raffles Loft, summoning out the Unicorn using its effect. We're going to grab Burf. We don't play Theosis. Theosis is very mid. We're going to go into Lightheart here. Lightheart gets searching for the field spell, beating out an Imperm, and successfully taking that card out of his hand. That is one less card for us to worry about. And again, luckily for us, we opened up with the card in hand already. So let's tag out one realm for another. We're going to go Primitive Planet, grabbing the SCARECLAW Rykart, then tagging out in the Peaceful Planet Calarium, grabbing the Rheum Heart. So we're going to special summon out the Rykart, searching the deck for SCARECLAW Arrival, going to use the Rheum Heart, popping the Rykart to summon itself to the field, using its effect to search the deck for a Mannadium monster. He does go for the Bestial Magnemut onto our SCARECLAW Rykart, which is a huge pain in the ass for us. We do grab Mannadium Torrid. Now, I will very quickly put this disclaimer out. Fearless. Why are we playing Fearless over Meek and over Torrid? Well, this guy is an Earth level 2 tuner. You know what that means? With all of your Earth level 3 non-tuners, that means you can go into Naturia Beast, right? That's why we're using the Fearless. It is nuts. So they're going to go Magnomet, of course. We're going to go Unicorn. We're going to search that extra deck of theirs, picking out a problematic card. Don't like the look of that Cupid Pitch. Too much potential there. Let's get rid of that shit and then go into a SCARECLAW Tryhard. Now we're going to go for KASHTIRA Birth. Now KASHTIRA Birth bringing back the Unicorn that's now in the graveyard. That's why Birth is so much value in this deck. We're going to go into the Codebreaker Virus Swordsman. From this point onwards, see, as soon as you summon Tryhard, from this point onwards, the combo becomes rigid. You're going to do this play every single game. How you get into Tryhard is up to you in your opening hand. You figured that part out, but this part you do every single game. So you summon out the Virus Swordsman directly underneath SCARECLAW Tryhard. They need to be co-linked. Summoning out Day 0, or 0 Day, sorry. Now we're going to link these two off in the Virus Berserker. Berserker then, underneath the Tryhard, brings out both of the other Codebreakers. Now we're able to use the other two to go into the Phantom Knights of Risti Ridarsh, or whatever the hell that last word is. It's French as hell. We're going to send Ancient Cloak, setting the Phantom Knights Fogblade to the field. We're going to use Ancient Cloak, banishing itself to grab ourselves a Silent Boots. We're going to special summon the Boots, using it and the virus to go into the Firewall Dragon, co-linked against two monsters, banishing Boots from grave, grabbing ourselves the second Fogblade, setting a card. Going to use our rival here to bring back the balloon. We're going to link the balloon off into Scarclaw, Lightheart. So now we've got the Firewall co-linked to 3 monsters. That means we can bounce 3 of his monsters whenever we want. We decide we're not even going to go into anything else super fancy here. We're just going to call it a turn, and we're going to see if our opponent can actually do anything about this. We didn't even use the Tryhards effect. That's how good our board was. We potentially could have done that, and it would have been slightly better. But honestly, we were so far ahead. They're going to go for Almirage here. I actually do misplay here in just a second. They're going to try and banish the Shinobi Necro from grave. I bounce back the Lebellion and the Shinobi Necro to hand. I actually forgot that Lebellion can be special summoned from hand. I completely forgot about that at the time. We also get to recycle back our Rheum Heart because it's either player's field or graveyard, which is just nuts. So we get the recycle as well. They're going to go for the Bestial Lebellion. We're going to take that opportunity to go for an easy Fogblade, shutting down the Bestial Lebellion. And unfortunately, our opponent doesn't have any plays left they can make. They swing into the Firewall to take out their Almirage, going into the end phase. Not really very much they can do in that regard. Draw phase for us. We're going to draw into the Abscission here. They're going to banish Lightheart from grave, going into the Dristworm. This is basically here to act as a bit of a firewall, if you will, to us. But there's a reason that we're playing Singularity in this deck. We're going to go for KASHTIRA Birth, bring him back to Unicorn. Now we're going to go Tryhard, of course, switching to the defense, linking 6 into Singularity. Now, why are we playing Singularity? We're playing Singularity so that whenever we grab our Fearless off of the Rheum Heart, we're going to go for Abscission, we're going to pop the Rheum Heart, grabbing the field spell. Now we're going to use Singularity's effect to bring back the Firewall Dragon. 3 linked in between all 3 of our big link monsters, tagging a Calarium for another Calarium to get searching for the Visa Starfrost. We're going to use Abscission in the grave to special summon that Starfrost to the field. Of course, it is switch to defense, special summoning out the Fearless as well. Going to bounce 3 back to our opponent's hand before linking off into another Tryhard, V-linking our opponent in this circumstance. We're going to bounce back Balloon to the field. We're going to grab Acro from the deck, summoning Acro to the field into the battle phase. 36 to the phase and 36 for lethal. Absolutely crazy game, crazy hand. And again, that's the type of combo that you're going to be going into basically every single game. The whole Firewall thing is basically the Firewall double Fogblade is almost every game, right? The Singularity is amazing follow-up because not only will it have multiple bounces, we play Astrolabe, we play a bunch of synchro cards, so we can give it multiple bounces, but it's primarily here to recycle back the Firewall Dragon every single turn. Every turn it comes back, which is just insane. There's game number 1. Let's get into game 2. Alright, getting into game 2 here then, up against NasTheOne this time. Again, another YouTuber I will link in the description of this video. They're going to go for Maxi again in response to our Unicorn. Unfortunately, Maxi really does slow us down a bit, and this isn't the greatest hand in the world, so we decide, you know what, we're going to play our Birth, we're going to set our Fogblade, and we're just going to pass. We're going to chill. We don't know what our opponent's playing, of course, at this stage, of course, other than the sleeves giving it away. They're going to go for the welcome, the Ariana, sorry. We're going to go Fogblade to negate the Ariana. Something I actually forgot about more than once, like a little reptilian-brained idiot, is that Fogblade means that whatever equipped monster can't be targeted for an attack, as well as, of course, not being attackable. So I go battle phase here like an absolute buffoon, expecting to be able to take out his Ariana. My real plan was for him to use a card to get rid of my Unicorn to try and protect Ariana, because it's my only monster, so that I could then use a Hero Lives. But unfortunately, our opponent simply didn't do anything, and they were right to not do anything. They're going to go for Big Welcome, and Welcome then in response to the normal summon of the Balloon, and it is at this stage that they're going to start flipping up some cards, summoning out the Lady and the Lovely, bouncing Lady back to hand. That's going to trigger, of course, the Lovely on the board and the Lady in the hand. Lady in hand going to special summon out to the field, and the Lovely is going to pop a card either in hand or on field. They're going to pop the Balloon on the field, of course. Perfect play. Going to go Unicorn here. They're actually going to go Imperm onto our Unicorn. Little known thing about this Labyrinth deck, it is not a normal Labyrinth deck. There are certain cards in their extra deck that they do want to protect. They're playing Buster Blader Labyrinth. Now that is fucking based. But anyways, you may be seeing a little video on that at some point soon. You know, we may tackle that. But either way, they're going to set a card and they're going to go for the lovely resetting Welcome Back to the Grave. Unicorn, banishing the access code talker from the extra deck. I don't need to be dealing with that drama in my life right now. Going to take out the Unicorn, swinging 3k, of course, can't attack with the Ariana still. Normal summoning Torby, going into the Chaos Angel, then banishing KASHTIRA Birth from my field, which hurts my goddamn feelings. But unfortunately, we're simply going to have to play through it. Now that we don't control any monsters on the field, we can finally use a Hero Live, summoning Prisma from the deck and immediately being hit by Big Welcome. Alright, yep, that's fine. But what they decide to do is they bounce back, of course, the Ariana because it was already negated. Why wouldn't you bounce it back? They're going to use the Lovely, they're going to use Welcome Labyrinth, they're going to use Torby, they're going to use everything at their disposal to generate as much advantage as they possibly can. Summoning Torby, setting Welcome, and popping the Unicorn in hand, not taking out the Prism in the field. Utter disrespect. Revealing the Astrolabe, sending Beats of Starfrost, Link summoning into the Lightheart. Lightheart then gets searching for our Reichphobia. Reichphobia then going to use its effect, grabbing ourselves the Scarclaw Reichheart, and this is when we start to play the goddamn game. We are going to normal summon into the 0 day, linking off into the Triheart, switching the whole field to defense, special summoning out the Parallel Excedio Zone, and which it points to, of course, Parallel Excedio summoning a never copy of itself from the deck, popping a face down card because now there's 3 or more defense position monsters on the board. Gonna activate the Welcome Labyrinth that we targeted, as well as the effect, of course, of the Lady Labyrinth, setting from deck to field the Peaceful Burial Trap card, the little tech card that we revealed in our Slifer deck that they're using in this deck to more consistently place a Dragon in Grave. They're going to go for the Virus Codebreaker now. We're going to use it to summon out our 0 day from Grave going into the Berserker. And this is what I mean. As soon as you get into this Triheart, everything else just flows. Now going to use this, of course, using the Codebreaker. I didn't know he did this. Codebreaker, by the way, can destroy spells and traps your opponent controls up to the number of linked Codebreaker monsters. That's free every single time. That is nuts. That is a big counter to any back row based strategy, so we completely wipe out his whole back row. We hurt this man's feelings. We're going to go for the Rusty Bardiche. We're going to use the Bardiche. We're going to mill the Ancient Cloak, setting, of course, the Fog Blade to the field. We're going to use the Cloak, banishing it to grab the Silent Boots from deck to hand. We're going to special summon the Boots, and here we go back into the Firewall Dragon, just like last time, like clockwork. We're going to banish 2, going into the Vicious Astrolabe. Of course, while not being able to attack, he can certainly pop a card on someone. We're going to deal with that Chaos Angel, protecting his monster from battle destruction. Now we're going to grab another Fog Blade from our deck. Scarclaw Rival, bringing back the Balloon from the grave. Now we're going to use the Firewall Dragon's effect. We're going to bounce 2 cards back to hand, linking off into Singularity. We're going all the way. Lady Labyrinth summoning itself back out to the field. Singularity going to bounce it back one more goddamn time. I am not allowing that bitch to stay on this field. She is leaving. Evicted, gone, finito. See you later. They're going to set Big Welcome from deck to field, of course. That's totally fine. Triheart then going to summon out Balloon from the grave as well, searching our deck for the Scarclaw KASHTIRA, which is the freest summon of my goddamn life. Banishing the Unicorn, summoning itself out the field. 3k into the Ku Clock for piercing damage. 21 off Rusty, and 4k off the Singularity for lethal damage. Singularity is an absolute fucking chat, and you're telling me I can play it on more decks than just fucking Mathmech? Say me the fuck up. So that is absolutely, again, really good game. Very well played from our opponent. They're playing a very, very cool strategy. We were just playing a bunch of base decks in this duel room, and you know what? Amazing strategy, and it's one that we are going to show off twice. Let's get into game 2 against NasTheOne. Alright, getting into another game here. This was about half an hour later. We were on this call for quite a while. We're going to go for Calarium off the rip, grabbing the Rheum Heart from the deck, normal summoning the Reichheart, using its effect to grab Scarclaw, our rival, of course, special summoning out the Fearless, so we can pop it for our Rheum Heart. Fearless then, of course, summoning another Fearless out to the field. Rheum Heart searching our deck for a card. And Calarium bringing back the Fearless from the grave. Possibly one of the single strongest combinations of cards in the entire deck. Look at that. Just like that, we got 3 monsters on board and an Obsidian in hand, which we're not going to hesitate in using. Popping a Fearless to grab another Calarium just because we fucking can. We're going to go Fearless, summoning another Fearless from the deck. We're going to link 1 off into the Rheum Heart. Now, why exactly did we do that? The only reason we played the Obsidian right there is because I, like a moron, summoned monsters to both of the zones underneath the extra monster zones. You do need to have a zone free underneath your Lightheart to special summon any Scarclaws you might have in your hand. We're going to grab the Reichphobia. We're going to use it now, activating its effect to get searching. We're going to grab the Astra, which is, in my opinion, the most valuable of the baby Scarclaws. Going to go into Tryhard here. Tryhard then, of course, is one of the big bosses. Into the Virus Swordsman. Again, so damn consistent. The deck maybe doesn't play through Interruption the best at times, but this combo is brutally consistent. Going into the Codebreaker one more time, bringing back the Codebreakers. Now we're going to use these two, going into Rusty Bardiche. Very simple combo. Bardiche gonna mill the Ancient Cloak, gonna grab the Fogblade. We played 3 copies of Fogblade because we so easily get access to it that why wouldn't you, right? It's basically a continuous imperm. Gonna go for the Silent Boots into the Firewall Dragon. Now we're gonna use Boots, banishing it from the graveyard. We're gonna grab ourselves back another Fogblade. Triple Blade on the field. We are triple wielding, or whatever the term would be. We are Zoro up in here. We're going to use the KASHTIRA in hand, summoning it out to the field, banishing the Lightheart from grave, and just like that, so this is actually a somewhat important part of the end board, because what this guy basically means is that if my opponent, against all odds, summons a monster powerful enough to attempt to swing over something like my Tryhard, it just means that whatever effect that monster may have, allowing them to do that, is going to be negated until the end of the turn. So they're not going to be able to do it for free. They're certainly not going to be able to use this something like a KASHTIRA Fenrir swinging in any of my Scarclaws, because it'll instantly be negated. Plus, again, we have so many set cards that it's not even a factor. They go for the King Backjack here. They do slightly mess it up, but it actually benefits them quite well because they get their Destruction Sword into the graveyard, potentially locking us out of the extra deck, but I don't know if anyone else has noticed. We might have vomited our extra deck all over the field already. Activating the field spell, gonna go for Ariana. Ariana, of course, getting negated. We have 3 swords. I'm gonna start yucking them bitches at this guy. They're gonna go for Welcome Labyrinth, though, in response. Welcome Labyrinth, summoning out the lovely Labyrinth from the deck directly. Going to use the effect of Labyrinth to pop the Tryhard. Tryhard, of course, they could have popped the active Fogblade to allow Ariana to resolve, but popping Tryhard was also a good play, because now Firewall Dragon only has a singular bounce. Now, we do decide to get rid of the lovely, because it's not really all that easy to summon from hand. It is a little bit of a break in hand, so it's not as if it's going to do him a ton of favors, but they do manage to also deal with the Firewall Dragon. I figured they were going to do that, so I might as well get some value out of it. Ending the turn, putting up a really decent fight against us there, but again, the triple Fogblade is a lot to play through, and we have so much interruption. We're going to go for the Primitive Planet to try popping that field spell. They're going to flip up double Welcome Trap cards. Welcome Labyrinth, then of course summoning out the Lady Labyrinth from the deck, and pop one of our face down cards, popping the Fogblade, sorry, the face up Fogblade, meaning now their Ariana is alive, so when they bounce it back to hand, they do in fact get to draw a card off of the Ariana. Pretty decent play. I could instead have potentially popped the field spell, but it wouldn't have done him a ton of favors then at that stage. Either way, gonna go all the way up to Chain Link 5 then on our turn, potentially 6 using the Lady Labyrinth. There you go. Chain Link 6, half of a dozen. We're gonna summon out the Lady Labyrinth as Chain Link 6. Chain Link 5, that lovely is getting negated. 4, Chandelier being added back to hand, of course. Welcome Labyrinth being set back to field from grave. Ariana drawing 1, and Lovely getting told absolutely not. We're going to link someone off into Lightheart one more time. We play double Reichphobia for a goddamn reason. We're going to use the second copy of the Reichphobia to make sure we can get as much advantage as we can. Grabbing into the Reichheart. Reichheart grabbing another copy of Arrival. Double Arrival is pretty damn big. We also draw a card off of the Reichheart as well. Grabbing Rathusloft, not the most useful card in the world, but I'll take it. We're going to summon out Astra from grave, grabbing Acro from the deck, and I decide, you know what, we're just going old-fashioned Scarclaw beatdown. 16 over the Lady, 23 over Ariana, and we cannot attack the Lovely because I forgot about Fogblade. I am not very good at remembering that. So what we do instead is we're going to go into Calarium and then the Pressure Planet, grabbing Unicorn and Visa Starfrost for follow-up for next turns. But I'm pretty damn confident that our opponent's going to struggle to put something up here. But luckily for them, they go Labyrinth setup, shuffling back 2 cards, playing Prologue of the Destruction Swordsman and Peaceful Burial, both to their field off that 1 quick play spell. Of course, they can actually attack us thanks to both Tryhard and the Continuous Trap. Summoning out Ariana from the deck. We're going to flip up our third and final sword. We're going to nail that bitch right between the goddamn eyes using our Fogblade, negating that effect and stopping the search. Now it's going to Tribute 2 to go into the Fenrir, the Tribute Summon, using its effect to search the deck for another Fenrir. That's totally fine. Going to use the Chandelier, dropping the Spare Fenrir to set big Welcome Labyrinth. directly to the field. Now they're going to pass back to us. So we are in a rather precarious situation, but we are definitely in a winning spot. We're going to go Visa Starfrost, popping the aggro to summon itself. They're going to go Fenrir here, trying to banish our Tryhard, and unfortunately I don't really believe there's a lot that we can do about that at this stage. However, we are definitely not in a losing position. They're going to go for Lovely Labyrinth for the Silver Castle, bouncing back Fenrir to hand, being of course switched to defense off of our Tryhard while it's still on the field. But unfortunately, someone forgot the Tryhard is unaffected by the activated effects of defense position monsters, including the Fenrir. It doesn't matter if you're on the field at the time of resolution or not. If you were in defense when you activated, you still don't affect me. They're going to go up to Chainlink 3 yet again. Chainlink 4, I don't know if anyone noticed, it's still my goddamn turn. Peaceful Burial, sending a monster from deck to grave, sending of course the Whelp just to act as a dragon material. Gonna add back Chandelier from graveyard to hand, welcome back from grave to hand, and then popping the Astra in our hand off of there. Lovely. Going to go into Baron de Fleur now. Baron de Fleur just offering us additional pops, additional protection with the negate. So we're going to set Big Welcome Labyrinth from their deck to the field. We're going to use the Big Welcome, pop in the Prologue. Going to now banish 2 from grave, special summoning the Astral, giving us another pop. Excellent card for going second here. Popping the Lovely into the battle phase, 33 to the face, and 33 the sequel to the face. NasTheOne putting up a phenomenal fight, really fending off the incredible pressure being placed on by SCARECLAW, but unfortunately succumbing to it in the end. Really solid replays of against both NasTheOne and GrimSky. Really nice guys. Really helped me out in building not only this deck, but a number of others. If you want to be more involved in these processes, get involved in these duels and these voice chats, anything like that, they're public and open to anybody who's in the Discord. So if you want to be involved, if you see us in a voice call in the Discord, hop in. They're public, anyone can get involved, and it can result in things like this happening, which is an absolute fucking blast. But either way, let's tackle this behemoth of a deck profile. Alright, this one is going to take a minute. It is quite a big deck, of course, and it is by no stretch of the imagination simple. However, a lot of the combos really can be. So first and foremost, we are playing, it is at its heart a SCARECLAW deck. We're playing as many SCARECLAWs as we possibly can. We're going to talk about it engine at a time rather than card at a time so that it makes more sense, right? So SCARECLAWs, let's talk about those first and foremost. We got the triple Asta, triple Balone, triple Aggro, triple Rykard. Of course, we have to max out, and we're also playing, of course, the one SCARECLAW KASHTIRA. More of a KASHTIRA card than a SCARECLAW card, but in both senses, really powerful. So all of these cards are essentially one card combos because they all link off into your Lightheart. Lightheart, of course, searches for your field spell. The field spell will, if you haven't already used Rykard, search for Rykard to get summoning, to grab yourself an Arrival, which is like a searchable non-once per turn monster reborn, which is pretty fucking sick. And it just starts the whole combo that you saw in the gameplay. It really does sort of get the ball rolling, and it works alongside a lot of other things. And now, because of the Mannadium cards, that combo can be even more powerful, because the Rhythm Heart adds to that combo massively, as well as Fearless also adding massively to that combo. So again, we got the triple of all of them that we can play. The one SCARECLAW KASHTIRA. We got the Arrival here, double Arrival, which is just monster reborn, non-once per turn. It can also banish itself from grave to protect one of your monsters from effect destruction, which is pretty fucking nuts. And that pretty much does it for the SCARECLAW cards. Now, why are the SCARECLAW cards good other than the one card combo? Well, all of the baby SCARECLAWs, the level 3s, give effects to your big Tryhard in your extra monster zone. Your Astra will allow you to attack a number of times equal to the number of defense position SCARECLAWs you have in your field. Balone will allow you to do piercing damage, and Acro will boost it by 300 attack for each defensive position monster on your field. Rykard's the exception. He is the big daddy SCARECLAW, the level 4, the heart monster of the deck. He can basically on summon, search your deck for a SCARECLAW spell or trap card, and the one that we're playing is of course Arrival. We're doubling up on Arrival because you don't mind seeing it in your opening hand, because it's not once per turn. You literally don't lose anything. It's really good. And now what makes them actually worth playing? All of these guys, all 12 of these monsters share the same effect, where you can special summon them from your hand to a zone adjacent to an existing SCARECLAW on your field. So any one of these guys, you normal summon, you link off into your Lightheart, and then suddenly you can special summon out next to the Lightheart and start comboing like crazy. So these guys are all absolutely nuts. I appreciate that's a slightly rushed explanation of all the cards, but I have a lot of cards to get free here. If you want a more detailed explanation of all the SCARECLAW cards specifically, I do have SCARECLAW exclusive videos that you might want to check out. But on this occasion, we're just sort of going to gun through things as quickly but as completely as we can. So that's the SCARECLAW cards. Now let's talk Mannadium. Mannadium, we're playing a bit of a weird Mannadium package that I just honed, and I think this is like the way to play it in this type of deck. We're playing triple Fearless, we're playing one Rheum Heart, we're playing triple Calarium, and we're playing double Obsidian. Now I appreciate this is probably a weird set of ratios, but it makes total sense once you start playing the deck. So first and foremost, why Fearless over the other two? Nobody is playing Fearless in Mannadium. Why is it good here? Well, it's good here specifically because it is an Earth monster. All of your SCARECLAW monsters are also Earth. You've got these level 3 Earth non-tuners that special summon themselves for free. Similar here with Tracker as well, which we'll get to, an Earth level 3 non-tuner. Well, what can an Earth level 2 tuner and an Earth level 3 non-tuner make? They can make Naturia Beast. Infinite spell card negates. Fuck your Runic. Fuck your Striker. Fuck your Dragon Link. You're not playing the game. I have the goddamn Beast. That is why they're here. That is why we're choosing this guy over the other two. You could play the others if you want, but I just think the Naturia Beast possibility is just so worth it. Like it's just stupid sometimes. But yeah, that's Mannadium Fearless for you. And when this card is destroyed, you basically get to summon another Mannadium Fearless directly from deck to field, which is pretty dope. Same as you would with Meek or Torrid. Then you got the Rheum Heart. Rheum Heart can special summon itself from field by targeting a monster you control with 1500 attack or 2100 defense, or another Mannadium monster that you control, either or. Summons itself, pops that card, and then on summon you will search your deck for a Mannadium card, which is, again, really straightforward. We're only running the one copy because he's searchable off of the field spell, Peaceful Planet Calarium. When activated, you will search your deck for a Mannadium monster or a Visa Starfrost and add it to hand. Now, this card also has a little bonus effect where light monsters you control gain 100 attack and defense for every tuner on your field and grave, which is neat. But mainly, if a face-up tuner is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one of those destroyed monsters and special summon it back. So if you need to pop a Mannadium off a Rheum Heart, if you need to pop a Fearless off of your Obsidian, you need to pop whatever you need to pop, you can bring it back off of the Calarium. That makes this card absolutely nuts. So that's one of the single most powerful plays in this entire deck is with Calarium on the field, pop Fearless, summon Rheum Heart. That is one of the single most powerful strategies in this entire deck. So that's pretty dope. Then you've got the Obsidian. Obsidian will basically destroy a monster on your field to grab yourself a Peaceful Planet Calarium, or if you already have Calarium on board, it will search your deck for another spell or trap. We're only playing it and Calarium, so it doesn't matter. Basically, it's just here to act as additional copies of Calarium, as well as to clear out monsters on our board that we don't have it anymore. It works really well alongside the likes of Fenrir and Unicorn, both of which will immediately replace themselves after being destroyed by the Obsidian. So there's a lot to do there, right? If you summon a Fenrir, you can pop the Fenrir after searching the deck for Unicorn for the Obsidian. Then you can summon Unicorn, grab Birth, and then Birth can do some really funky shit. Or if you just raw have Unicorn, you can just pop the Unicorn and then summon Unicorn back off of Birth. So it works really, really well with the KASHTIRA monsters in particular. But it also, of course, works even better with the Mannadium Fearless, and it isn't terrible alongside your other monsters as well because you get a lot of free special summoning. So those are the Mannadium cards. Let's talk about the... oh god, what do we even talk about next? There's so much to talk about. Let's talk about Visa Starfrost, of course. He's purely here as a name for our Hero Lives play. Yes, we are playing the Prisma, and I will be playing Prisma in quite a lot of decks moving forward because this tech is nuts. Hero Lives, being able to special summon your Prisma directly from decks, so long as you don't have any face-up monsters. Bear in mind, you can have face-down monsters. I discovered that during my testing in the Duel room. I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently you can. It's just not something that comes up very often. But yes, Prisma then can send from your deck to the graveyard your Visa Starfrost, and then it takes Visa Starfrost's name, which is incredibly valuable. That means Prisma begins your entire SCARECLAW combo by itself. This is a free SCARECLAW combo from deck. No normal summon needed. A Hero Lives is absolutely insane. Plus, sending Visa Starfrost to graveyard means that later on in the turn you can summon the Vicious Astrolabe, which is just even better. I think you're an absolute clown if you're not recognizing the value that a Hero Lives brings to not only this version of Scarclaw, this like steroid-fueled rage monster of Scarclaw, but even just regular Scarclaw, right? Really probably wants to play Prisma now with the induction of the Astrolabe. It really is just a no-brainer in my opinion. And even as a normal summon, it still works. So why wouldn't you? But anyway, now we'll get into some of the more finicky pieces of the deck. We have the Phantom Knights cards. We're playing 1 Ancient Cloak, 1 Silent Boots, and triple Fogblade. You saw the combo. The combo is you bring out your Rusty Bardiche, send Ancient Cloak to set a Fogblade. Then you use Ancient Cloak to search for Silent Boots, which can special summon itself since you control the Rusty Bardiche. You use the Rusty Bardiche and your Berserker to go into Firewall. Then you can banish this guy from grave to set another Fogblade. And we're playing 3 Fogblades so that if I open one up, I can still set 2 because it's still just a trap card that negates a monster's effect, right? It's still a really good card, even to just open up with. So yeah, that's why we're playing it the way we're playing it. Again, you saw it in the combo. I don't need to explain that part. You get it. Same for Zero Day Breaker, Codebreaker Zero Day. All part of your Codebreaker combo that we showed in all 3 games. If you're not sure what the combo is, just watch the gameplay again. It's really straightforward. You basically just go into the Virus Swordsman underneath Tryhard. He brings out Zero Day. These 2 go into Berserker. Berserker brings back these 2. These 2 go into Bardiche. You do your whole Agent, your Phantom Knights play, and then you have your Firewall, right? It really is that simple. We did it in all 3 games. It's very consistent. It's very powerful. And it's just cool. It's just cool. It's such a unique take on just Yu-Gi-Oh! It's just a unique deck. I really love it. I was actually really impressed with myself when I came up with this. Of course, a lot of credit does go to the likes of GXSECTOR, who has a lot of really, really nice Scareclaw videos. I would definitely recommend checking that channel out in the description below, as he does a lot of Scareclaw content. And I definitely took a few ideas from that content. I took the Codebreaker ideas from that, for example. Of course, the Mannadium ideas and the Prism and things like that, all of that was coming from myself and my own sort of investigation and testing. But the Codebreaker tech and the Psychic tech both came from his videos, both of which are awesome. These guys are just level 3s that can special summon themselves if you control another level 3. Spoilers on who that is. This one's also a tuner, which is interesting. And on more than one occasion, they actually have an additional effect that activates when used the Synchro Material. This guy in particular, if he's used the Synchro Material, you target a monster on the field with less attack than the monster you summoned, and you get to pop it, which is sick, especially considering Tracker increases a Synchro monster's attack points by 600 attack when used as material. So if you use both of these as material, for example, to say go into Tri-Edge Master, not only does your Tri-Edge Master become a tuner, which kind of doesn't really matter, but it also means that you are pumping a card your opponent controls that has 27 or less 100 attack points. That's pretty dope. I like it. Wielder's effect does definitely come up. Tracker I really like because it works with the Fearless to go in the Naturia Beast. It's less so for that whole play I just talked about. This one's more so to help enable the Fearless Naturia Beast even more consistently. Which admittedly it isn't super consistent unless you want to sacrifice the primary integrity of your combo. But if you have an opponent that is particularly weak to the Naturia Beast, there is nothing stopping you from just doing that. Yeah, of course we got the Triple Max C, Triple Ash Blossom. What have we not talked about? We haven't talked about the cash cards. So the cash cards are pretty straightforward. In this deck, again, Fenrir, they're all free summons. You want to summon your Fenrir out to the field. He searches your deck for another monster. Ideally, the idea behind the KASHTIRA cards is you want to use them with your Obsidian or with your Reum Heart or with something, right, that helps you clear them off of the field. Ideally, something like Obsidian. Because basically, if you summon the Fenrir, right, Fenrir can activate the search your deck for the Unicorn. Then you can use Obsidian to pop the Fenrir, which then opens up your field for you to summon the Unicorn. Unicorn then can search your deck for KASHTIRA Birth, which allows you to revive back KASHTIRA monsters from your graveyard and banish pile. So then you can summon out the Unicorn, and then you can use the Birth to bring back the Fenrir. Suddenly, off of that little combo, you have not only Calarium and the full Mannadium play, you have 2 level 7 monsters on your board, which is almost enough to bring out the Tryhard, and you haven't even normal summoned yet. you still get your full line of plays, and that's only using like 2 cards out of your hand. You still get a full hand of cards. It's nuts. And then, of course, we have the SCARECLAW KASHTIRA, which is searchable both from Fenrir as well as from Tryhard. It is a pretty decent part of your end board because it can be special summoned from that hand simply by banishing a KASHTIRA or SCARECLAW from hand or grave. But basically, so long as he's on the field, anytime your opponent battles one of your SCARECLAWs or one of your KASHTIRAs, that monster's effects are negated until the end of the turn. So SCARECLAW KASHTIRA really helps Tryhard out a lot of really problematic monsters. It can help it out Avramax, for example. It can help it out Access Scope Talker. And there's just tons of cards that KASHTIRA, like just negating their effects in the battle phase, offers your Tryhard such massive opportunity to swing the game around. So this guy, again, big props to SCARECLAW KASHTIRA, definitely a real game winner here. Parallel Exceed, because extenders for days, baby. As soon as you link off into your Tryhard, this guy single-handedly enables your entire Codebreaker line, so why not play him? Reinforcements of the army, because why not? We've got Hero Liz, who we already talked about. Double Primitive Planet, we've already sort of mentioned this card. On activation, such as a SCARECLAW, if there's 3 or more defense position monsters on field, pop a card your opponent controls. Pretty straightforward stuff. We have Pressure Planet, which searches for a KASHTIRA monster. We have E-Tele, which I guess I haven't talked about, but that's just here for the tracker and the wielder. It just makes your plays more consistent. It gives you more consistent access to an extra monster on board for your Tryhard. It can get you instant access to a Naturia Beast, to a Tri-Edge Master, to whatever you need, really. Even to Baron de Fleur alongside your KASHTIRAs. So, you know, it's a free summon. I don't know why you wouldn't play it. Double Call By, and a single Crossout. So that's the entire main deck. Like I said, there's a lot going on. And it really is difficult to sort of comprehend the deck at first point of contact. If you haven't fully played SCARECLAW before, if you're not like a SCARECLAW master, if you're not super versed with Mannadium, if you don't really know how KASHTIRA works, you really need to understand the core mechanics of all 3 of those decks before you can make this one work. So my advice is that before you pick this one up right away, take the pieces in, learn your SCARECLAWs, learn your KASHTIRAs, learn your Mannadiums, because only if you understand what you're looking at are you going to be able to pull everything out of this deck, because a lot of the situations you find yourself winning are games that you shouldn't have won. Games where you're only able to act in the way that you're acting because you have full knowledge of your deck. You know exactly what your cards are capable of. And a lot of people pick up decks without doing that, right? I mean, a lot of people will just want to pick up a deck and play it and have fun, which I 100% am on board with. But there are certain decks that you need to have a certain level of background knowledge on before you can approach it in a manner that's going to be enjoyable. No one likes picking up a 60-card deck, especially not with so many URs in it, and then getting their fucking dick beat. It's not a good feeling. So make sure you practice, right? That's my advice. Going into the extra deck, we have, of course, the Astrolabe to act as a Prisma Reveal target. And also, it's a free summon because you can just banish Visa Starfrost and any of your heart monsters from grave to summon it. On summon, pops a card. What's not to love, right? This card's fucking nuts. I absolutely love this card. I really underestimated how much I would love this card. It's sick. Naturia Beast, we talked about this card to death. Brutal. Tri-Edge Master basically is a bit of a funny extender, so he allows you to draw 1 in most circumstances because you're going into him off of the 2 and 4 most of the time. Basically, he's here because he's a level 6 light monster that if you can bring him out alongside like your Rykart, you're able to go into a full power Chaos Angel, and that's pretty funny. That's it. Visa Starfrost, and this guy can technically do it as well. But the little +1 off of this, sometimes it just saves your ass. You draw into the exact card you need, and its level is useful, its attribute is useful. It's just generally a useful card, right? If you don't have this card, I legitimately... Normally, I would just say play Stardust Charge Warrior instead. I wouldn't even do that. I would just play like a different Link monster. Because you're not relying on synchros of this deck. If you were to take Tri-Edge Master out, I would be tempted to cut Chaos Angel. Because there's not a ton of ways of going into it, right? I mean, again, you can say like, oh, Visa Starfrost and Rykart. Like, yeah, when's that happening? When is that happening? Ever. So realistically, if you're not playing Tri-Edge Master, I would likely cut the Chaos Angel as well. That frees up 2 extra spot zones for you to just play around with, have fun. But I'm playing it, I like it. I just occasionally like that little +1. It just feels really nice, and the level and attribute are super useful, so I'm playing it. Baron, level 10, generic, once battle face up Omni negate, what's not to love? Chaos Angel, if you summon it using both light and dark monsters, all of your monsters are indestructible by battle, and your synchro monsters are unaffected by activated monster effects. Plus, on summon, you can banish a card your opponent controls. Now, why is this card actually mainly in play? Well, it's because if you're using exclusively light and dark monsters, you don't actually need to use a tuner, which is pretty damn useful sometimes. So yeah, pretty decent card overall. Then we got the Lightheart. You have to play at least 2 of this card. If you are cutting the Chaos Angel and Tri-Edge Master, you might want to bump it to 3. 2 is fine though, you don't need to play it at 3. 2 is fine. On summon, searches your deck for the Primitive Planet Rycophobia, and if you control a Visa Starfrost on your field, you can special summon this guy back from grave. It's primarily here to be grabbing your field spell. Link 1, summonable off of any Scarclaw or the Visa Starfrost, off your Prisma, off of anything like that. So it is just an amazing card, it really is. Link 1s do be fucking broken. Cherubini is a card that I never actually used, and until this very moment, completely forgot was even in this deck. In theory, the card is cool because it allows you to pitch like level 3s to the grave where you might want to use them. However, in practice, it's really not all that impressive, and you may actually want to consider cutting this card. Now, a circumstance in which this card could be useful is if there's a particular engine or something in the deck that you want to maybe tag out for the adventure engine, then the card suddenly becomes really good. But right now, I would be very tempted to cut this card. If you don't have it, don't craft it, unless you want to play the adventure engine. So this deck doesn't really play around with its normal summon effects too much, so you can definitely get away with playing adventure. That is entirely up to you. Codebreaker Virus Swordsman and the Codebreaker Virus Berserker. I've already talked about these cards to death. We shoot them off in the gameplay. They're very straightforward. Rusty Bardiche, core part of the combo. During your main phase, you can send a Phantom Knight card to the graveyard from deck, and then set a Phantom Knight spell or trap directly to the field. Again, you're just using it to send Ancient Cloak, setting up a Fog Blade. Using Ancient Cloak to search for Silent Boots, summon the Silent Boots, go in the Firewall, searching another Fog Blade. So it's just double monster negates, as well as setting up 3 bodies on board for your Firewall Dragon. Definitely insane card. Really is. This card was banned for a while and banned for good fucking reason. Scarclaw Triheart. Triheart's pretty fucking good. Triheart switches all monsters on the field of defense for a start, right? So that by itself really does hurt a lot of decks. For example, KASHTIRA really don't like this card. They can get rid of it eventually, but they really fucking hate it. They really struggle, and the reason they struggle, you may be thinking to yourself like, oh, well, just Fenrir banish it, oh, just a Rise Heart banish it. Well, you can't, because he's also unaffected by the activated effects of any defensive position monster, so you can't just banish it. So it's pretty fucking sick. This card is actually really difficult to deal with for a lot of decks, and it's not even just that. It also usually has layers of destruction protection thanks to a rival in the graveyard. A rival can banish itself from graveyard to prevent the destruction of a Scarclaw Link monster in the extra monster zone. Or sorry, just in general, right? It doesn't even have to be in the extra monster zone. But yeah, just a Scarclaw Link monster. And then during your turn, not only is he a pretty insane boss monster, he also generates crazy advantage because you can target a level 3 Scarclaw monster in grave, special summon it from the graveyard, and then add another Scarclaw monster from your deck to your hand. That one is not bound by level, so you can in fact search your deck for the Scarclaw KASHTIRA if you would deem it appropriate. It is definitely the most powerful individual search target, but again, we've already covered the battle phase effects of all of these dudes. They're all pretty fucking insane, so you can pick up whatever one you're missing. Firewall's pretty nuts. Basically, he can, once while face up, similar to Baron de Fleur, he can bounce cards your opponent controls, monsters on either player's field and either player's graveyard back to the hand, up to the number of monsters he is co-linked with. That is going to be at least 2, because he'll be co-linked with Triheart and with Rusty Bardiche. He can be co-linked with up to 3 if you go into another copy of Lightheart to complete the little trifecta. So you can be bouncing 2 to 3 cards with Firewall very, very consistently. And lastly, we have Singularity. We already talked about the fact that Firewall Dragon is in fact once per turn, once while face up. So in order to compensate for that, to make sure that it's not a one-trick pony and a one-time thing, Singularity, whenever a monster that it points to leaves the field, you can bring back a Cyberse monster from your graveyard, meaning Firewall Dragon will come back every single turn. Singularity is absolutely nuts. It's usually not a part of your turn 1 end board, but it can be, because look at those arrows and look at these arrows. That is easy V-Link material right there. I showed the V-Link combo as well earlier on in the video, so if you want to see that in play, you can of course go back to watch it again. But the V-Links are nuts. The recycling of the firewall is nuts. It can also bounce cards, monsters your opponent controls from their graveyard back to hand, up to the number of different card frames you have on your field or engrave, between Fusion, Ritual, Synchro, or Exceed. Again, you don't always have any of those, so sometimes it doesn't have a bounce, but again, normally you can get a Fusion engraved pretty damn easily, you can get a Synchros engraved pretty damn easily, so it normally does have a bounce or two as well. And that's the full deck. So again, the deck is nuts. Practice the pieces, put them all together, put your own spin on it, and let me know what exactly it is that you're having fun playing with. Maybe I'm missing a card, maybe you have some sort of surprise tech that blows this deck even out of the water. And if you do have something like that, of course, let me know in the comments, or better yet, you can let me know in our Discord server. But that's pretty much everything I have for you here today. You can check the video above me and to my side if you want to see even more content from the channel, more deck profiles of some of the amazing decks that have come out recently. I would definitely recommend giving them a watch. But as for this deck, that's all I've got to say on it for now. So I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.